This is the second part of the section 6.2 lecture video, and we're going to further explore how to factor those trinomials of the form x squared plus bx plus c. So let's look at the other three examples on this page. Can they be factored using the method we talked about in the last video? Well, what's different about them? In number 11, we don't have a plain old y squared. We have a number in front of it. Same thing in number 12, and even worse, we have an x cubed, not an x squared. And on number 13, we have an x to the fourth. So, do you think we can do this using what we learned in the last video? Well, the answer is yes. And what we should always remember is anytime we're factoring, always factor out the GCF first. And that will make any other factoring that has to happen much easier. So, if we look at number 11, hopefully you see that we can take a 5 out of everything. And I'm actually going to take out a negative 5 because that way we'll have a leading term that's positive. So we're going to take out a 5 and we're going to make it negative. So if I factor out a negative 5, that leaves me with a y squared minus 10 divided by negative 5 gives me a negative 2y. And then 15 divided by negative 5 gives me a negative 3. So I have negative 5 times the quantity y squared minus 2y minus 3. Now, if I use what we learned in the last video, we have a b of negative 2 and a c of negative 3. So we need everything that multiplies together to give us negative 3. That's either 1 and negative 3 or negative 1 and positive 3. And we need the combination that adds up to give us negative 2. So 1 plus a negative 3 gives us a negative 2. That's the one we want then. So when we go to write the factors down, we do it just like we did before. That's a y plus 1 times a y minus 3. But we can't forget about that negative 5. That's the GCF we factored out to start with. And that's the way we do these. So let's try number 12. Number 12, our GCF is, let's see, all the coefficients are divisible by 2, and we also have an x as part of our GCF. So if we factor out a 2x, that leaves us with, remember we have to divide every term by the GCF, so I'll actually write this one out so we can see how it goes. It's 12x over 2x. Okay, so that gives us a 2x times, in parentheses, we have 2x cubed divided by 2x leaves us an x squared because the 2's cancel. And remember the division rule for exponents, we subtract the exponents. So 3 minus 1 is 2. Plus the second term, 10 divided by 2 is 5. And we have x to the 2 minus 1, which is just an x. And then we have minus 12 divided by 2 is 6. And the x's go away. Okay, so now our b is a positive 5 and our c is a negative 6. So we need things that multiply to give us negative 6. That's 1 and negative 6, negative 1 and positive 6, 2 and negative 3, or negative 2 and positive 3. And we need the combination that gives us a positive 5. So you can check all these yourself, but the one we need should be the negative 1 and the positive 6. So when we factor, we still have this GCF of the 2x hanging out front. And then we split the trinomial in the parentheses up into x minus 1 times x plus 6. And if we want to check this, we can. So we start by foiling the two binomial, whoops, that's a minus. So we start by foiling the binomial factors. So that leaves us, okay, 2x out front. Then when we foil, x times x is x squared. X times 6 is 6x. Negative 1 times x gives us a minus x. And negative 1 times 6 gives us negative 6. So if we combine like terms in the parentheses, we have x squared plus 5x minus 6. And then we distribute the 2x through. We get 2x cubed plus 10x squared minus 12x, which is what we started with, so that's good. Okay, what about number 13? Our GCF here is going to be just an x squared. So if we take out an x squared, remember we're dividing by each term by the GCF. And when you get good at this, you practiced a lot, you probably won't have to write it out like I'm doing right now. But until you have lots of practice, it's probably a good idea to do it this way. Okay, so when we do that, we have the x squared hanging out front. Remember, we're subtracting exponents, so x to the 4 minus 2 is x squared. Then we have minus 19x plus 18. Okay, so we need things. Our b now is negative 19 and our c is 18. So we need things that multiply to give us positive 18 and add to give us negative 19. So we have 1 and 18, negative 1, negative 18, 2 and 9, negative 2 and negative 9, 3 and 6, and negative 3 and negative 6. So we need the one that adds to be negative 19. And again, you can check these on your own. But that's going to be the negative 1 minus 18. So remember, we still have this x squared hanging out front. And our trinomial in the parentheses breaks up into x minus 1 times x minus 18. And you can FOIL that out to check it if you want to. So that's the end of section 6.2. We'll pick up again in section 6.3.